Let me get my audio right. Whew. I like to say Shalom. Let's start by saying Kal Halayim La Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Harakah Kodash Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles, great millstone, double honors to our elder apostle as well, a Herod one, Barnyard all down here in the Lions Den camp. Salutations to the Arkin that are pushing the truth, the sincerity and the truth, and peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. I'm Knox on Barnyard all from the Lions Den Yashar camp. And this is another Lions Den news and prophecy. Let's go ahead and you know how we do. This is second Ezra chapter 15, verse 1. It says, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written on paper, because they are faithful and true. All right. It's like I need to take my um phone off low battery mode because it's gonna keep cutting off like that. But right. So I ain't gonna hold you. I jumped the gun. I haven't even read this article, but the title alone explains itself on why um I feel the need to jump out there, so to speak, because like this is major, right? This article, you see the title in the article, it says Iran state media confirms killing of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei following US Israeli missile strikes. Right? So now, man, it's crazy, man, because that they already upset. Like, and one of the brothers um brought this up today, and I think it was Zaria said that Iran is already upset about Soleimani being unalive. I think it was last year before last, something like that. And now the Ayatollah is unalive. If this is true, man. Just like how Trump said, like that the American U.S. military has strict orders to allegedly wipe Iran off the map if anything happens to him. What do you think the message the Ayatollah gave to Iran if anything were to happen to him? You see that? This is major right here. They already started bombing like uh US military facilities over there in that region, and like the lesson that I did last week, talking about how my homie called and was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? They were stationed in was it Kuwait they were at? Yeah, I think they were in Kuwait, and they rushed them up out of there. They're getting all that type of personnel. If you're not war personnel, your ass is getting up out of the Middle East. And that they were rushing everybody out. They say that Colonel General or something like that, whatever he is, had said that something major is about to go down, and we need you guys out of here. And it was crazy because some storms and stuff were coming through, and it delayed and canceled a lot of flights, and so people were panicking because they knew something major was going on, but they just didn't know what. And then what we've been talking about this. So once they already had the Abraham Lincoln over there in that region, and their strike group, and then once then Nero 47 DJ Nero 47 called for the USS Gerald D Ford to come too. That's the biggest aircraft carrier in the world. Along with, and I was telling you all this, All the ships that they have in that region, they are preparing for all out war, man. But look, what is this doing though? What is this doing? What is this doing? Mm, 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 mm. Jeremiah, let's get it. Let's get it. What is this doing? We're gonna talk about that, man. How about Shimon Shai moves them Chaturanga pieces? All right. So now this is what all like. So you have the situation. Look at what they did, right? Look at what. Let's look. Let's analyze the movement of um of the Great Whore. All right. Let me look up something called Operation Desert Storm. Operation Desert Storm. Gulf War. January 17th, night to oh no, Desert Shield. Then you had Operation Desert Storm also. But basically they went over there and started breaking all that stuff up in the Middle East. It was called the Gulf War, Persian Gulf War. Desert Storm, Desert Shield, right? It all started in what, 1991 or 1990, right? The whole Gulf War situation started. Then you had the other a war in the Middle East dealing with Afghanistan happening in the 2000s, right? So what is America doing? They doing all they can to control all that region, right? And it's about the oil. That's the hottest commodity. That is the hottest commodity, man. Who's controlling that oil? And then for DJ Nero 47 to go into Venezuela the way he did. See that? Venezuela having the largest stockpile of crude oil. Right now, who controls that? The great whore, Babylon. You see that? So now they're now check this out. Why all these countries that they sized up and attacked because of this, right? All have something in common. Wanting to use a different currency other than the greenback in trade of their oil. So now, if everybody was stayed in compliance with using the greenback, it would have made it easier for them to put forth their new war orders, which is making everything digital. It would be easier to transition everything over. But now you're trying to go against the grain. They have to make an example out of it because they're going to continue to push their agenda, which is to bring forth the MOTB. See what all this is leading up to? If the Ayatollah is really dead, that's the reason why he's dead. Let's read some of this article real quick. It says Iran Supreme Leader Alani Khamenei, Ali, how do you say that? I can't even. Hold on, let me get my glasses. I probably can't even say it with my glasses on anyway. But anyway, Alani uh, uh, Khamenei, whatever his name is, has been unalive. Iran state media confirmed early on Sunday in the opening of salvo of a war aimed at a regime change that was launched on Saturday by the U.S. and Israel. See that? And that's what the elder was explaining and talking about when we got to camp. It's all about regime change. They're gonna like, if we attack these people, are you gonna go in? We're gonna if we do this, will you go in there and change and move it out of the way what we need to move it? See, that's why Israel's involved. That's why these other proxy nations are involved to push the agenda of the United States. To where like so they divide the people. This is how the elder explained. They divide the people, right? Once they divide the people, it makes it seem like the people is the one that brought forth the regime change. See that? That's how they push their so-called through deception. And so if they come, that's a bruh. That ain't no wolf in sheep's clothing. That's oh my. What is that? Uh, that's man. That's beyond the wolf. Like that's beyond the wolf. The way they phew, go through these type of measures to push their agenda through total deception, but not even. But here's the kicker: not even understanding that they were created that way for that to be their downfall. So they're so much into the deception that they're deceived themselves, and they don't even know. Just like how they pull the wool over everybody else's eyes that they deceive, they end up pulling the wool over their own eyes, and they cannot see that they're leading themselves all the way down to destruction. That's why the scriptures say they shall be overtaken by their own demise. It's not it's ironic that faith is the one that brought forth nuclear, showed the world nuclear power with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's what put America on this high horse. That's what put the queen on her throne. All right. It says Ka- Khamenei had not been heard from since the strikes began, and satellite imagery showed that his secure compound was heavily damaged in the initial brigade on Saturday. They don't even what. It says the confirmation came hours after Donald Trump announced the death of the Ayatollah, who has ruled Iran as supreme leader since 1989, in a post on True Social. So he got confirmation that the strikes. Wow, this dude right here, Nero 47, boy, that pride, that pride. But he doesn't understand what this is doing. Oh my goodness, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's do this, let's do this. Let me get some scriptures real quick. Let me start out with this Proverbs. Proverbs 10. Hold on. No, let's get this. That's not it. Slacking real quick. It's- all right, here we go. Here, okay. Mm, 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 mm. So, what was one of the main things that Trump said he wanted to do with Gaza? He wanted to turn it into a resort. He said it would be good for the people. These are poor people over there. They need things like this, right? He calls everybody poor people, right? And he uses that their impoverishedness as a way to bend to to impose his will on other people, that's violence. That's persecution. All right. This is Psalms 10:2. It says, "The wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices they have imagined." See that? So these devices that mean that they imagine, that's their imagination, that their plans that they come up with. But that's going to lead them to their own demise. You see that? They don't understand, like, you know, the Lord is creating enemies for Esau. And you know what I'm saying? In America. These other countries, I learned something in life, right? When you've had a personal relationship with somebody, right, and you love them so much, and in some way they they've shown you that they're fake, whatever the case may be, right? They've rubbed you the wrong way in some way. The amount of love that you have for that person will turn into that same amount of hate. See that these nations were in love with America, especially China. So now it's because China mirrored the image, like I'm gonna use this scenario. Okay, America was the sun, China was the moon. China became a reflection of what the United States of America was. See that? China absorbed all America's sun rays and start to illuminate that light. You see that? They became the lesser light. So now, but as much as China loved America to be able to prosper because of that, they're going to despise America that much more. See that? And that's all according to the will of Yahweh Shemel Shai. All right, because of this. This is Jeremiah 51 and 1. It says, "Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind." That destroying wind is missiles, right? But who's going to shoot the missiles? If everybody was still in bed with America and loving America as they did in past times, it didn't matter how many missiles they had, they were not going to use it on this place. So what did Yahweh Shemel have to do? Create enemies. Verse 2, it says, "And I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about." In other words, fanners goes into enemies. The Lord is creating enemies against this place. America is going to be as a chase road that no nation is going to be able to take up. Ain't nobody gonna come to the aid of America. Once shit hit the fan, ain't nobody who's coming. The scripture says these 10 heads shall turn and hate the whore. NATO and the EU is going to wash their hands of this place. This is all Hashem Yahushua. I'm gonna read it again. Jeremiah 51:2. It says, and and I will send up unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow. See that? So bending the bow is shooting missiles. What did they just do? They set the airstrike between Israel and the United States, bombing all up Iran, and the Ayatollah got hit. Allegedly. Allegedly. Man, these niggas finna go, Hak mak mak malah, hak malah. They're going to think that the Most High Allah to them, their God, is telling them to bring back vengeance for what the United States has done. See, Esau pushing his own agenda, but these in the Ishmael think he pushing the agenda of God. So he's driven by something totally different. So the retaliation, the reaction to the action is going to be met with so much more force. And that's what people are not understanding. They're thinking that God is telling them to stand up for themselves and strike back. They're doing it in the name of what they say Allah. You see that? And that's deception within itself. That's Yahweh Shema Shai controlling the playing field. You want to play both sides of the war, Yahweh will show you how to do that. He's playing all sides because he created this whole scenario. Right? It says verse 2. Verse 3, it says, against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow. Right? So he's bending bow, he's shooting missiles. So these nations are going to start shooting them right back. And against him that lifted himself up in his brigading is his defense, his shield. See that? Against him that lifted himself up in his brigading, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her host. And that word host means armies. Destroy all the armies. All destroy. Get them out of here. You see that? So, the Lord is okay. You don't believe Lord created enemies for Babylon? Scripture say, I shall raise up against Babylon an assembly of nations. But let's go to this first. We might get to that one. I want to go to this. All right. This is Isaiah 14:9. It says, hell from beneath is moved to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. Like if you cool, calm, and collective, you're sitting down on your throne. What raises you up from your throne? Anger or fear? See that? See, in the book of Job, it says fear is going to cause Esau to rise up from his throne, but anger is going to cause these other nations to rise up from their thrones to come against Babylon. Isaiah 14:9 says, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming, and stir up all the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. And all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou come like unto us? Because before they didn't have the gall to rise up and stand up against America. But they're starting to see the weakness. The actions of America is not the actions of dominance, it's the actions of fear. That's why they say they're gonna have peace through strength. They gotta flex their muscles and hoping that nobody calls their bluff. Like see these strong ass muscles over there, they hoping they could stand up and flex muscles and people bow down like they did in the past. But just because you have all those muscles does not mean you can fight. These other nations want to see what your hands look like. So and this is exactly what this is. You got Venezuela. The Lord is raising up enemies against this nation, man, against Babylon. So, just wanted to touch on that a little bit. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to serve His purpose for the hope of the elect. The ones that truly believe in the name Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. With that, I'd like to say, Call Halayim, La Yahweh, by Shem Yahweh Shai, by Shem Harakak Radash, Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone. Double honors to our elder apostles as well. I heard one by Yashar all down in the lines in camp. Salutations to the Akim that are pushing the truth, to sincerity and truth. And peace and blessings to the men and women of the truth and the believe in the name Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.